Let's discuss etiology in Chinese medicine, the diet, maladjustment of work and rest. Diet maladjustment of work and rest. First, the impairment due to improper diet. Food and drinks are the source of nutrients that are indispensable substances for maintaining the vital activities of the human body. An improper, unclean, or unbalanced diet often causes illnesses. Since food and drinks are digested and absorbed by the spleen and stomach, an improper food mainly impairs the spleen and the stomach, leading to dysfunction of the ascent and descent of spleen and stomach qi. It can also lead to the accumulation of dampness, the formation of phlegm, the generation of heat, or transformation into other illnesses. Next, the unregulated intake. The amount of food and drinks should be appropriate, as excessive or inadequate food and drink may cause disease. If intake is insufficient, the source of generation of qi and blood is reduced and they lack sufficient nourishment. Over a period of time, this may result in deficiency of qi and blood, leading to illness. Conversely, an excessive indulgence can overwhelm the capacity of the spleen and the stomach to digest, absorb, and transport. This can lead to retention of food, injury to the spleen and stomach, and cause such symptoms as abdominal distension, fatigue, eructation, acid reflux, and anorexia, vomiting, or diarrhea. The plain question states too much drink and food can injure the intestine and the stomach. Indeed, indulgence in fats and sweet food is likely to engender endogenous heat, sometimes producing carbuncles, gangrene, and skin ulcers. Next, the contaminated food and drinks. Eating food or drinks that has been contaminated or has spoiled can lead to a variety of stomach and intestinal disorders. This produces such symptoms as abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and dysentery. Doing so can also cause parasitic infestation such as roundworms, pinworms, or tapeworms, and this can produce abdominal pain, pica, and emaciation. Sometimes contaminated or spoiled food or drinks can contain poisons, causing severe abdominal pain, vomiting, or diarrhea, and in severe cases, coma or death. Number 3, unusual cravings and imbalance. Food and drink should be appropriately regulated without unusual cravings or imbalance in order to ensure that the body receives all the necessary nutrients. If food and drinks are too cold or too hot, or there are unusual or unbalanced cravings, the equilibrium of yin and yang may be disturbed, or sometimes essential nutrients may become lacking. Essence, vitality, qi, and blood are all nourished by the 5 flavors, and the 5 flavors have affinity for the Sangbisira respectively. According to the plain questions, when the flavors enter the stomach, each seeks its preferred organ. The sour first goes to the liver, the bitter first goes to the heart, the sweet first goes to the spleen, the acrid first goes to the lungs, and the salty first goes to the kidney. If there is sustained preference for any one flavor, that corresponding sound organ may become overly stimulated, and over time there may be injury to the visceral organs. The internal classics has pointed out this correlation. Excessive intake of sour foods can overstimulate the liver and impair the spleen and lead to a thickening and wrinkling of the skin and parched and cracked lips. Excessive intake of salty food can overstimulate the kidney and impair the heart and lead to sluggish circulation, tightness of the chest with shortness of breath, and a luster complexion. Excessive intake of sweet foods can overstimulate the spleen and impair the kidney and lead to darkening of the complexion, tightness of the chest with shortness of breath, lumbar and knee aches, and hair loss. Excessive intake of bitter foods can overstimulate the heart and impair the lungs and lead to a loss of moisture from the skin and loss of body hair and disharmony between the spleen and stomach. Excessive intake of acrid foods can overstimulate the lungs and impair the liver and lead to dull and dry nails and spasm of the sinews. Thus, the diet should balance the 5 flavors appropriately and avoid strong preference. A proper diet is especially important during an illness and should be adjusted throughout the course of the illness. This will help the treatment and speed the recovery. Conversely, the illness may be aggravated. Strong preference of either hot or cold foods can also indulge illness. For example, excessive intake of cold, raw food can injure the yang qi of the spleen, the stomach, and engender exogenous cold and dampness and lead to abdominal pain and diarrhea. Excessive intake of acrid or hot foods can induce heat accumulation in the stomach and intestine and lead to thirst, abdominal distension and pain, constipation, or hemorrhoids. An appropriate intake of alcoholic drinks can promote blood circulation and loosen up the sinews, but excessive intake over time can lead to disease. The nature of alcohol is hot and damp, and its excessive intake can injure the spleen, the stomach, and the liver so that endogenous dampness and heat can engendered. Clinically, such symptoms are abdominal distension, reduced appetite, bitterness, and greasiness in the mouth, and a thick and greasy tongue coating can appear. So we have here the illustration of other internal causes of illness, the supernutrition, the pathology of obesity. We have the hyperlipidemia, hypertension, diabetes, coronary heart disease, the arteriosclerosis, cholecystitis in gallstone. We have also the normal labor, overease, overstrain, overthinking. With the high carbohydrate diet, high fat diet, high protein, preference for strong flavors and drinks, raw, cold food and drinks, pungent or hot food, alcoholic and temperance, vegetarian diet for a long period of time could result to malnutrition and leading to qi insufficiency or spleen and stomach. With the eating of sprouting potato, toxic mushroom, water hemlock, stramonium, puffer fish, having a bacteria, virus, unclean food and drinks, pathogen, parasites can lead to belching, acid regurgitation, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, dysentery. Thank you for your attention.